This is kind of a tough video to make because I don't really talk about this subject matter a whole lot, but this is about the last time that my son saw his mother. And if this is the first time seeing me, I talk about alcohol use disorder, and my wife passed away from alcoholism about 4.5 years ago. And the last time my son saw his mother when he was back home from college, this would have been Christmas of 2019. We had dropped him off in September, so he'd been away for 3 months. And I remember when he came home, he was very different because I think he had escaped for a while and he was home, and I could tell he was feeling uncomfortable because he had had a taste of really being able to be by himself and explore the world of college life and to be on his own. And I think it was a wonderful experience for him. And now he was back home again, and he was back in the throes of having to be around his mother. And at that period, during Christmas of 2019, this is only a few months before she passed away, she was just perpetually drinking and drunk. And as difficult as that is to understand, that was just the deal. And I really tell this story as a deterrent because this is really the end of the road. I mean, if you've been drinking for years and years, you're going to lose everybody, really all the important relationships in your life. And I don't think there's too much another relationship more important than your children. And when that goes awry, I think the writing is on the wall. And I think Amanda could feel that because during that Christmas, he pretty much stayed to himself, or he went to friends' houses. And even he was only there for a few days because he caught a plane and went to his girlfriend's house in Texas the day after Christmas. So he was only home about 5 days, and I think he was uncomfortable during that period. Even when we were unwrapping presents at Christmas, he just kind of was very quiet, open, oh, thank you, and then he went right back up into his bedroom. This is Christmas Eve, and I sat there with Amanda, and she was inebriated then. I mean, I think she'd had eggnog, or you might wonder where it all came from, but she just had it. I don't know where she got it, to be honest with you. That's not really the point of this video, but the point of it is that my son had had enough, and I could tell he had had enough. He'd been away, he tasted freedom, and he wanted no part of being around it again. And he left and left the house as soon as he could, and he left on the 26th of 2019. I took him in the morning to go fly. He's flying to Texas, and after that, he was flying back to school. And his mother was in bed when he left, so he never even said goodbye to his mother. And of course, at the time, we didn't know that would be the last time. And during that Christmas and after, I realized the effect that it really had on my son. I mean, he had actually lost about 40 pounds from September until December. And my wife was making Christmas cookies and cakes, and he really wanted no part of it because she used to always do that. Because he was getting away from sweets, and she kept pushing it on him, and he was actually getting angry with her at one point. He goes, "Look, I don't want this, Mom. Leave me alone." And it's the first time he had really had that attitude. And after he left, and back when it went back to January, and I realized not only the effect that it had on him, but it had on myself. And my goal to myself was to get my son through his childhood because I mean, I knew this was going south. At this point, Amanda had been to 6 rehabs, nothing had worked, and I wasn't really. You really got a sense that you didn't really have a feel that anything was going to work because she wasn't working it. She wasn't doing outpatient care. She wasn't going to her A meetings, or she wasn't doing, really anything in particular. And you could tell it was just the whole thing was just going south. So in January, I talked to some lawyers, and they suggested that it's really something you need to do slowly. So I late near the end of January, I put her into another 7th rehab. She agreed to go because she was drinking nonstop. I mean, it just never stopped. I mean, she would sneak out at night, get alcohol. I would come home. She was drunk every single night. I'd say the last 3 or 4 months of her life, she was just watching television. She'd go out at night, get alcohol, hide it. I'd go to work. She would drink it, be blasted by the time I got home, and watch television until 2, 3, 4 in the morning. She really wouldn't even get up sometimes until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And there was really no quality of life at that point. She had knee replacement surgery. She was very immobile. She was on crutches. I mean, she had a lot of health issues in addition. And I think all the alcohol at this point over 2 decades had just worn out her body. and we were soon going to find out just how worn out her body was. And really, without making this too long, is the plan had was to put her in. I put her in her 7th rehabilitation facility. I dropped her off in L.A. It was a completely different place we'd ever been to before, and then I was going to put her into a sober living facility where she could live there for almost a year. And it's a place where you have to have a job, and you're in a house with other recovering alcoholics, and they can check you periodically. There's checks and balances, and I thought it was a good opportunity. It was a bridge for her to get her own life back. And then I was going to move forward with a legal separation, and I talked to lawyers at that point. But the whole point of this is that there comes a point, no matter how good the relationship is and how important it is. I mean, a mother-son relationship is shot. Our relationship was shot as a spousal relationship, and we had the most wonderful marriage you probably could have for the first 15, 18 years. Until really the alcohol took that over and caught up into her life. So it's a cautionary tale, and I hope other people can learn from that. And if you don't know the whole story, she was in the rehab that I put her in one day. She fell down a flight of stairs, spent 28 days in ICU at UCLA, went through 12 operations, and they discovered, just a plethora of health issues because of the alcohol. And unfortunately, she did succumb to it 28 days later. And that was the end, which was a horrible, dismal way to go. And this is the direction that this disease will take anybody who doesn't get it nipped in the bud. So really, the whole point of this video is if you have a family member who's going down this road, this is the end of the road. This is the direction that you're going, and it's important for family members and alcoholics to recognize that. With that in mind, I also have a complete coaching program that goes over this. Set up a breakthrough call. It's a 45-minute Zoom call. We do a deep dive into what's going on with you and your family. We set up a complete blueprint on what to do and where to go to solve that issue. The call is free. The coaching program definitely is not, but I'm looking for people and families who want to change their lives and the lives of the alcoholic in their family. And again, thanks so much for listening.